Have you ever wondered how an ordinary boy from a small town could rise to become one of the most powerful creators on the entire planet? How someone with no money, no fancy equipment, and no connections could change not only his own life, but also the lives of millions of others. Today, we are going to step inside the remarkable journey of Jimmy Donaldson, better known as MrBeast. This is not just a story about YouTube videos. It is a story about passion, determination, struggle, failure, and the power of generosity. And as you listen, you will also be learning English naturally through the rhythm of storytelling. So, settle in, focus on the flow of the language, and let's dive in together. Jimmy Donaldson was born on May 7, 1998, in Greenville, North Carolina. At first glance, his childhood was not extraordinary. His family was not wealthy. In fact, money was often tight. And his mother worked very hard to provide for him and his older brother, CJ. Jimmy's father was not around much, which meant his mom had to take on even more responsibility. These struggles created a home filled with love, but also filled with challenges. For Jimmy, it was a world where every small achievement mattered and every dream felt far away. Yet inside this shy, introverted boy was a fire that no one could see at first. Unlike many children who played outside with friends, Jimmy preferred to stay indoors. He loved video games, he loved watching YouTube videos, and he loved asking endless questions about how things worked. He was curious, restless, and creative, but he was also different. School was difficult for him, not because he wasn't intelligent, but because his mind was constantly racing with ideas that the classroom could not contain. While teachers told him to concentrate, Jimmy was secretly holding on to a vision that he could not explain. He wanted to be a YouTuber. Imagine a boy sitting quietly in class, looking out of the window, while his thoughts were racing toward an online world where stories, creativity, and possibility lived. In 2012, when Jimmy was just 13 years old, he stumbled across YouTube in a way that changed his life forever. He saw ordinary people uploading videos, making others laugh, teaching, entertaining, and even earning a living from it. Suddenly, this shy boy saw a new universe open before his eyes. It wasn't just a website. To Jimmy, YouTube was freedom. It was opportunity. It was a door to a life that seemed impossible. Without professional equipment, without training, without even a real plan, Jimmy made the bold decision to begin. He created his first channel and gave it a strange name, MrBeast 6000. That name may have sounded random at the time, but soon the world would know it. At first, his videos were simple. He recorded gaming sessions of Minecraft and Call of Duty. The quality was low. His microphone was basic, and he edited on an old computer his mother had managed to buy after months of saving. The first videos received only a handful of views. Sometimes only 10 people clicked to watch, and most of them were his own friends. But here is the difference. While others might have given up after such a small response, Jimmy didn't stop. He enjoyed the process. He loved creating, even when no one seemed to be paying attention. That is where the first real lesson of his story lies. True passion isn't measured by applause, but by your willingness to keep going when no one is watching. Life at home was still difficult. His mother, Sue, often worried about how to make ends meet. She questioned Jimmy's obsession with YouTube. She would ask him, "Why don't you focus on school? Why not get a stable job?" Jimmy would always reply, "Mom, one day I'll make it big. I promise." But inside, even Jimmy wasn't fully sure how or when that might happen. He only knew one thing: he couldn't give up. Every day he pushed himself to upload, to learn, to practice. He traded sleep, he traded time with friends, and he poured himself into the world of YouTube. For 5 long years, Jimmy worked in silence. No spotlight, no fame, no big rewards. He studied the platform like a scientist. He spent hours watching successful creators, analyzing their titles, thumbnails, and styles. He experimented with new ideas, often failing, but always learning. Imagine him late at night, eyes glued to his old screen, editing a video while the rest of the house slept. His friends sometimes laughed at him, telling him it was a waste of time. But Jimmy believed in something that others couldn't see. He believed in delayed gratification, the idea that sacrifices today would build something greater tomorrow. And then came the breakthrough. In 2017, Jimmy uploaded a video that seemed almost ridiculous at first glance. He decided to count all the way to 100,000. Yes, just counting. The video took him over 40 hours to film and edit. It was exhausting. It was strange. But sometimes, the strangest ideas are the ones that break through the noise. This video went viral, attracting millions of views. Overnight, Jimmy's name began to spread. Suddenly, his years of invisible effort were visible to the world. For the first time, Jimmy felt the taste of success. But instead of slowing down, he pushed even harder. What made Jimmy different was not only his persistence, but also his unique vision. He understood something powerful. People didn't just want entertainment. They wanted experiences that felt bigger, bolder, and more meaningful. Instead of keeping the money he earned, Jimmy began giving it away. He donated to homeless shelters, tipped delivery drivers with life-changing amounts, and surprised strangers with thousands of dollars. These were not empty stunts. They reflected his genuine belief that generosity could be entertaining, inspiring, and transformative at the same time. The audience loved it. Suddenly, YouTube was not just about watching. It was about feeling hope, excitement, and joy. As Jimmy's fame grew, he faced new challenges. He was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, a painful condition that often left him exhausted. There were days when he could barely get out of bed. But even illness could not stop him. With determination, he pushed through the discomfort and continued creating. On top of that, the bigger his channel grew, the more pressure he felt. Each new video needed to be better, grander, and more exciting than the last. The expectations were heavy, and the stress was real. But instead of breaking under the weight, Jimmy transformed it into fuel. He pushed himself and his team to think beyond the ordinary. If others gave away small prizes, he gave away houses, cars, and even islands. Over time, Jimmy built a team of trusted friends who became his partners in creativity. They brainstormed for hours, sometimes 12 hours straight, until they found ideas that no one had ever tried. Jimmy's philosophy was simple. Most people give up thinking after a few minutes, but true innovation requires persistence. Together with his team, he created spectacles that shocked and inspired millions. From real-life versions of Squid Game to massive charity campaigns like Team Trees and Team Seas. These projects weren't just YouTube content. They were global movements that showed how entertainment could also change the world for the better. The beauty of MrBeast's story is that it's not just about him. It's about what happens when an ordinary person refuses to give up on a dream. It's about how sacrifice, vision, and generosity can transform a shy boy from North Carolina into a global inspiration. And this is where his journey begins to speak directly to us. Because behind every video, every act of kindness, and every viral idea lies a simple truth. If you have the courage to start and the discipline to continue, you can create something far beyond what others expect of you. From the moment Jimmy's videos began to explode in popularity, it was clear he was building something far greater than just a YouTube channel. MrBeast became a brand, a movement, and in many ways a symbol of modern creativity. But let's pause for a second. What makes this story even more fascinating is the contrast between where Jimmy started and where he ended up. Imagine a young boy in a small bedroom with a slow computer and an old microphone, uploading videos that almost no one watched. Now imagine that same boy just a few years later, standing at the center of massive charity events, running businesses, and inspiring millions around the world. This sharp contrast is the heartbeat of his journey, from invisible to unstoppable. As the channel grew, Jimmy never lost his core belief. The more you give, the more you grow. This wasn't just a catchy phrase. It was his strategy. Every dollar he earned from his growing audience was not spent on luxury cars or expensive clothes. Instead, he reinvested it all back into his videos. When most creators reached success, they slowed down. Jimmy sped up. He took the money from one successful video and used it to create an even bigger and better one. That cycle, create, reinvest, create again, became the secret engine that pushed his channel to heights no one had seen before. It wasn't luck. It was design, and yet success did not come without weight. The bigger his audience became, the more he had to innovate. Millions of viewers waited for each new upload, expecting something extraordinary. That pressure might have crushed another person. For Jimmy, it became fuel. He sat with his team, Chris, Chandler, Carl, and others, brainstorming for hours, asking questions that no one else dared to ask. What if we gave away an entire island? What if we recreated a movie set? What if we planted millions of trees? These were not small ideas. They were outrageous, bold, and seemingly impossible. And yet, time and again, Jimmy turned the impossible into reality. One of his most defining moments came in 2019 with the launch of Team Trees, a campaign created with fellow YouTuber Mark Robber. Their goal was to raise enough money to plant 20 million trees around the world. At first, people thought it was unrealistic, but Jimmy's belief and persistence inspired millions of fans to contribute, as well as some of the biggest names in business and entertainment. The result, success. 20 million trees planted. Just 2 years later, he followed up with another massive project, Team Seas, which aimed to remove 30 million pounds of trash from the ocean. Again, he delivered. These projects proved that online entertainment could also become a force for global good. Suddenly, YouTube wasn't just about videos. It was about changing the world, one project at a time. But perhaps one of the most inspiring parts of Jimmy's journey is his humility. Despite earning millions and building a global empire, he still lives in North Carolina. He spends time with his childhood friends, who are now part of his creative team. His mom, who once doubted his obsession with YouTube, has now become one of his biggest supporters, even appearing in his videos. The boy who was once seen as a dreamer now stood as proof that dreams, when pursued with determination, can become reality. Let's reflect on what makes his story resonate so deeply. It is not simply the scale of his giveaways or the size of his audience. It is the lessons hidden inside his journey. Lesson 1. Dream big because no dream is too big if you are willing to work for it. Lesson 2. Persistence matters more than talent. Jimmy was not the smartest student in school, nor did he have special resources. What he had was persistence, and that was enough. Lesson 3. Giving back is not just charity. It is a way to build true success. By helping others, Jimmy built trust, loyalty, and love from his audience, which fueled his growth even more. Failures, of course, were also part of his path. Before the world celebrated him, Jimmy uploaded hundreds of videos that barely attracted attention. He experimented with formats, ideas, and styles, failing again and again. But instead of letting those failures discourage him, he used them as stepping stones. Each failure taught him something new. Each unsuccessful video sharpened his instincts. And when the breakthrough finally came, he was ready to handle it, because he had already built the mindset of persistence. That is a lesson worth remembering for anyone chasing a goal. Failure is not the end. Failure is preparation. Outside of YouTube, Jimmy has also shown himself to be a clever entrepreneur. He launched MrBeast Burger, a virtual restaurant chain that allowed fans across the world to order food without him ever owning a physical restaurant. He also started Feastables, a chocolate company designed to create better snack options. Both of these ventures were not only profitable, but also strengthened his connection with his audience. They showed that MrBeast was not just a YouTuber, but a visionary entrepreneur who knew how to turn ideas into reality, and yet, even with all his businesses, charities, and global recognition, Jimmy never pretended to be perfect. He openly shared his struggles with Crohn's disease, reminding his audience that success doesn't mean a life without pain or difficulty. He admitted to feeling pressure, stress, and doubt, just like anyone else. This honesty made him even more relatable. People didn't just admire him for his achievements. They connected with him as a human being. They saw in him not only a successful creator, but also a reminder that struggles can coexist with triumphs. Now let's turn this story toward you, the listener. What can you learn from Jimmy Donaldson's journey? Perhaps you are trying to improve your English, and it feels slow. Perhaps you have a dream that others don't believe in. Perhaps you are facing struggles that make success feel far away. Jimmy's story is a mirror reflecting back to us that greatness does not come from perfect circumstances. It comes from imperfect people who refuse to quit. It comes from persistence, creativity, and the courage to dream even when the world doubts you. If there is one takeaway from this story, let it be this: don't wait for the perfect tools, the perfect timing, or the perfect plan. Start where you are. Use what you have. Learn along the way. The shy boy in Greenville did not wait for opportunities to arrive at his doorstep. He created them. You can do the same. Whether it is learning English, building a career, starting a business, or chasing a personal dream, the principles remain the same. Dream big, work hard, never give up, and always give back when you can. So the next time you watch a MrBeast video, remember that behind every scene of excitement, behind every act of generosity, lies years of invisible effort. Remember that the extraordinary is built from the ordinary. And most importantly, remember that your own story, though unwritten, carries the same potential. One day, it could inspire millions too. And that is the story of MrBeast, not just a YouTube star, but a symbol of what is possible when vision, persistence, and generosity come together. His journey is still unfolding, and the world continues to watch. But his message is already clear. Success is not about where you start, but about where you are willing to go. And as you finish listening to this story, take with you the courage to dream, the discipline to persist, and the generosity to share. Because in the end, those are the qualities that turn ordinary lives into extraordinary legacies.